Just overall, I think they've been doing a great job. I mean, we've been throwing a lot of stuff at them from week to week that they've been here, and they've really progressed across the board. Payne's doing a great job. You know, he's trying to get acclimated to some of the calls. Hasn't had a lot of mental errors. Done a great job. Physical player. You know, and across the with Sean Dion, he's learning the calls. He's getting in there. You know, we're kind of protecting him a little bit with the injury that he had in college, but looking good. So we're happy with what we see.
And how has Jonathan Allen looked coming back from his injury?
Oh, very good. I mean, I think he did a great job of rehabbing in the off season. We were kind of a little bit hesitant early on when he was here, you know, just taking reps and stuff. But looks like he's just keep on progressing of where he kind of left off last year, and the sky's the limit for him.
Coach, talk a little bit about Monte Nicholson. He's had a lot of time last year, suffered the injuries. What do you see out of him? How do you see him fitting into the secondary this year?
Who did you say?
Nicholson.
Nicholson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, you know, you could see his speed. You can see his reaction to the balls, and just playing great overall coverage. You know, from a communication that second year, usually those guys start to, okay, I understand what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden they're going to understand what exactly they're doing, what the offense is trying to do against him. So he's been doing a great job across the board. I think the communication has been great. You know, I think I'm the proudest of those guys putting in the time in the meeting rooms and going out there and actually, you know, successfully making us better as a football team.
I know it's early, it's a process, but you just talked about having Allen back and you talked about Payne. What are your expectations for the run defense? Imagine it can't get. I
mean, we're in the process. You know, just over time. You know, last year was the first year. You know, coming together as a group with the calls and stuff like that. And I think this year, you know, with everybody kind of having their mesh together, I think that's what we're trying to do out there right now. And you know, it looks good now, but you know, hopefully in the future it'll pay off its dividends.
What role do you see Orlando Scandrick playing in this defense? He's gotten a little work outside in the slot.
I mean, he's doing both right now. He's playing outside as a corner, and he's playing as a nickelback inside. He kind of did that in Dallas over the years that he was there. Smart football player, understands quarters, threes, all that kind of stuff. So from our standpoint, a veteran guy that can come in and have success.
You were around Alex Smith out in San Francisco, and now you're back with him. What have you seen from that guy? How has he kind of gone from what you saw in San Francisco to the guy that is out there now?
You know, just been around a lot of football quarterbacks in my league, you know, as a player and as a coach. And I can tell you one thing, you know, when I was with actually Rich Gannon when I was in Kansas City, it was unbelievable the amount of time and effort that he spent in the off season. And Alex kind of reminds me of, you know, Rich in that standpoint, you know, spending a lot of time in the office, trying to get the offense down. Just an excellent human being that performed at a high fashion. You know, he beat us when we were out there in Kansas City last year, and he was the main cause of it. And, you know, I'm excited to have him here.
Is there one player that this offseason that you've talked to and said, okay, this year I'm really expecting you to take this sort of leap? Is there one guy that stands out?
Well, I think, you know, with Jonathan, I think that's a big one for him. You know, it's usually that second year, even with Nicholson on the back end. You know, that second year, most guys come in and they're just trying to figure out what they're trying to do, you know, from, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. And then the second year they try to figure out, okay, I understand all the stuff that's going around me, and trying to learn exactly how's the offense trying to attack him. And I think those two players, I think, are going to have a successful year.
In addition to Allen, obviously he and Payne played together in college. They've got a lot of rapport together. How do you see them fitting together, and have you seen it at least just working together with the chemistry on the field just early on? Yeah,
I see that, I think, with all the players that we have. You know, I think playing a year with somebody and then all of a sudden Jonathan getting hurt, even Matt Ioannidis having good, Ziggy's having a good practices. So it's just good up front to have those guys understand how Jimmy's teaching it and how we're trying to relate it to them in that fashion up in the classroom. And they're actually doing it out in the field, which is a great thing.
Looked like Zach Brown missed at least one practice last week. How important is it to have him back out there working with Mason Foster in the first team?
I think it's always important, but it's always a thing for those backup players, and with Harvey Clemens, getting those reps for him. I want Zach to be here. He's not, but from my standpoint, with those players that are here that are working, those young bucks, I'm excited for them to make an advance as well.
And then a couple other second-year guys, what growth have you seen from Moreau and Anderson transitioning from 1 to 2?
I think both of them. I think Anderson from his steps out of his stance, his first and second steps. I've grown dramatically over the time that he's had. And then with Fabian just doing a great job of just understanding and recognizing splits, understanding, when he could take his chances, and he has. And he's done a great job. Both of those guys have.
Coach Gruden at the Combine last year talked about Nicholson being a guy that sort of epitomizes kind of Jordan Reed of the defense. How do you guys see being able to move him around the field and use his versatility in the secondary?
Yeah, we're trying to move him around sometimes. It's just great to see him, back to the form that he was when he left last year. So I'm excited for him. I'm excited for all the guys. I compliment every one of them because the stuff that we're throwing at them right now is a lot, and they're really comprehending and getting it down. So I'm excited. All right, thanks, guys.